talking about the AI for nonprofits and advocacy cohort. Super excited. We've got a bunch of big updates coming for folks, and that's why we're doing just this quick live. We've got the AI Summit kicking off tomorrow. And I just want to update folks on all of the awesome things that are going on. I'm Brad Calzana, founder of the Center for Digital Strategy, author of the digital plan. I believe I know who I am, and I'm just super excited to be updating and bringing this big new cohort to folks. And I'm going to kick it over to Rachel.
Hey everyone, I am excited to be bringing you the best and brightest of our sector expertise here. And so this program is looking to serve a lot of different folks in the space, young people not included, but we are hoping to reach lots of nonprofit professionals, advocacy groups, community-based organizations, social enterprises. Philanthropic folks are also welcome. Again, not young children, no welcoming of young children to this cohort, but otherwise all others are totally welcome in this space. I'm going to bounce it over to Ryan next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Miller. My pronouns are she, her. Like Brad, I am also usually pretty confident about who I am. And thank you, Rachel. Just sharing about the cohort structure, number one, let me say this has been very, very intentionally and thoughtfully planned out. And Valerie, especially as well as Rachel, have a great deal of experience structuring and creating these sorts of programs. So it's a pleasure. The program is 12 weeks altogether. It is relatively intensive, but with a really great mix of theoretical and foundational, as well as practical, as well as office hours. And so, like this slide says, there's a hybrid format, including with live sessions and asynchronous learning. This is designed to fit in with your full-time job if you have one, or consulting if you do that. And there will be ongoing collaboration opportunities once this cohort is over. And I will pass the baton or microphone over to Valerie, if I can.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Valerie Ehrlich. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And so we've put together a lot of different elements combined into this cohort experience. So we'll have a couple different things that you can expect. The core sessions are where we'll really dive into a lot of the foundational concepts around AI. So these will be things that aren't just limited to specific tools, but will really enable the learning to live on beyond just the cohort program by giving you a background on all sorts of foundational concepts related to AI, choosing the right tool, data, privacy considerations, and things like that. We'll have tactical sessions, which will be a deeper dive and really focus in on using different tools and for different uses across all of the needs that a typical nonprofit, advocacy, or foundation professional might have. Office hours will be a more tactical, applied place to experiment and share learning, get feedback, and really bring the learning to life. And then we finished with a capstone project. And so hopefully these aren't the types of projects that you find annoying at the end of a session. This is really more taking everything that you've learned and applying it into your work and your day-to-day work and what will be most useful in the organization. And so that'll be a way of sort of wrapping it all up and kicking off your ongoing learning as you head back after the experience. So then I'll pass it over to Ben.
Thanks, Valerie. So just going to walk you through a bit of the high-level week-to-week work and the structure that we'll be looking at. So we dive right in with a kickoff week where the real focus there is, you can see, demystifying AI. And we really want you to walk away from that week feeling like you have some stability underneath your feet. So if you're someone that has struggled to understand kind of where AI sits at a very practical level for a nonprofit, for a charity, for an advocacy organization, this is really a great foundation building moment. So that way you'll feel like for the rest of the cohort that you have some of this like base knowledge to hold on to. We then use week 2 to build on top of that. And we talk about the fundamentals of AI for organization. So once we've demystified it and given you that foundation to stand on, we're going to start to build some of those fundamentals up. In week 2, we also have our first tactical session. So as Ryan had mentioned a bit earlier, the main focus of these tactical sessions is to give you hands-on time with professionals in the space that are building and designing these AI tools. So that way you have a real understanding of how you could use these right now at your organization. As we move into week 3, this is really week 3 and 4 are where we start to build on that AI strategy. So you can see that we're going to have 2 core sessions in week 3. This is all around really understanding the essentials of generative AI and prompt engineering, kind of how do you get the generative AI tools to get an output that you want. And then how do we take that and really get an AI ready culture? So now that you've kind of gotten excited, you've built a foundation, you started to see how some of these tools go, the change management piece is one of the more difficult elements. And what we really advocate for is having a structure that allows your organization to adopt any emerging technology. And so we dive into that in week 3. We have a nice week 4, more of a chill week. It's if you remember back to your university days, this is like a reading week is the idea, a chance for you to kind of get caught up and feel like you're in a good spot. We host some office hours, which are, again, a bit more low-key, an opportunity for you to come in, engage with the facilitators and teachers in the course to have a better understanding, maybe dive into some topics that weren't able to quite get covered during the core sessions. And then we do a tactical session again. And Brad, I'll go to you for weeks 5 and 6.
Hey, thanks. 5 and 6, we're digging into policy, frameworks, and data. So we're going deep, talking about the organizational level AI, talking about how your adoption policies work. And so week 5, policies and organizational practices, a tactical session, number 3, plus office hours. And one of the things, just to highlight once again, the tactical sessions will be informed by the cohort. So by members who are here, the things that they're looking for, and we will try to be adaptive as we go. Because the whole thing will have to be adaptive because something in AI is also going to be changing in the middle of this cohort, right? In week number 6, AI strategic framework, evaluating ethics and practices and workflows and tools. This is one I'm really excited about. I think a lot of organizations are stuck here. It's somewhere in tandem with the policies and wedded in that people don't know how to make the ethical decisions about which tools and which workflows and which things are ethical ways to get more work and which things are unethical because you're replacing a human. And then we're going to dig into understanding AI and data. So really understanding what does your own data privacy and security look like, and what does it mean for AI to help you analyze and look at data. And then we're going to jump over to week 7, Rachel.
And I think this is really exciting because we have some awesome core sessions that are going to prepare you for some of the tactical exploration that we're going to be engaging in. And so as you are learning those core competencies, you're going to get to come and play. You're going to get to really use the skills that we're helping you develop in those core curriculum. And so this is an opportunity in week 7 to really practice, right? We're coming down to the end of the session. We might have some capstone ideas that we're starting to kick around, and we really need to spend some time practicing. I think Microsoft came out with the data that if you spend 11 minutes a day working on your AI skill set, eventually you're going to become an expert, right? And it just takes 11 minutes of practice to start, building that expertise. I actually want to kick it to Ben or Ryan to talk about the creativity aspects because I'm a researcher all the way through. And so I'm excited about the capstone project. Making it pretty might not be my expertise. And so whoever would like to take week 8.
How about I start and Ben, you follow up after me if there's more to share. But thank you, Rachel. What I wanted to say about the Capstone project is, and Rachel, to your point about creativity, is I think that the way I'm viewing a lot of AI things, and absolutely this cohort, is we're really building our literacy. And so by the time we get to this capstone phase, you will have the foundation, you will have the tactics and tactical elements, you will have had office hours as well. And we will be, as Rachel just commented, starting to kind of see and sort of like chisel out of the ice block or sand block a couple ideas, both collaboratively kind of amongst the group and just individually, what your project might be, what it might look like, what might be most beneficial and valuable for you as well as for your organization. And I think that there's just frankly a huge variety of possible types of projects. So some of them might be more along the lines of structural, organizational, and kind of like governance and policy based. And some of them might be something like, potentially building an agent, or potentially, kind of envisioning a project from start to maybe mostly finished, or maybe it's an evaluation structure that works for your organization that includes ethics, includes potentially even the environmental impact, that sort of thing. And so I think that like by the time we get to the capstone, the opportunity is actually quite vast, but is also very much grounded in everything that you will have just learned and will be kind of like basically kind of like in your bloodstream by now, and like in the collaborative waters. So I think that this will be a really exciting time to do something that's really valuable for you and your organization, and also you'll be learning from and sharing from everyone else in the cohort. And so there's just going to be like a sort of like beautiful explosion of creativity and collaborative learning. Ben, anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, so you can just kind of see here what these 2 weeks look like. So we're doing some reading, some experimenting. We have a technical session. We introduce the capstone here in week 9, and really, as Rachel and Ryan have been saying, this is just like an opportunity to kind of pull it all together and get to a practical thing that you're able to use. And then in week 10, I believe that is our last core session, which is really kind of taking everything that you've learned and understanding, okay, how do we make sure this doesn't get siloed with just like the IT team, or siloed with just like maybe you're on the marketing team and it just gets siloed in that marketing team. Really, how do we take AI and pull it across the entirety of the organization so that we can get an AI throughout, instead of just like, oh, right, these are the people that do AI and they're kind of siloed over there.
I'm going to jump back real quick to week 8, because I want to give due justice to creative with graphics, AI, audio, and video. I'm a huge fan of this. I think for a lot of folks using AI currently, a lot of folks are doing prompting, engaging with content, maybe helping research or figure something out. But there are a lot of folks who are doing creative design in really interesting ways. And this it blends into the frameworks and questions, right? Like, am I using this to replace a graphic designer, or am I using this to augment the work that I'm doing and make it better, where we wouldn't have had a graphic designer, where we can help empower the things that we are doing? I think there are a lot of really smart ways to do this. And I think even while done poorly in some cases, I think there are ways to use it ethically in storytelling, right? Where you wouldn't want to show actual videos of people who are in danger from their government or whoever, to tell a story in a really rich and beautiful way that gives authenticity to it. And the graphics and audio space, it doesn't have to be, when we're talking about AI, it doesn't all have to be fully generative. It can also just be editing, right? Like, how do you use this to take an interview with a supporter and make the editing a lot faster when your organization probably wouldn't have done the video, because you wouldn't have been able to figure out the process of having an editor help you make it look a little bit cleaner and a little bit more presentable. So some really exciting stuff coming in there. And we're going to jump over to the closing weeks. Rachel.
Bringing it all together. This is what we aspire to do. And so whereas some of the multimodal information might not be your favorite thing, you're now going to have skills in that. And you can decide to weave it into your tactical session learning and really push yourself with Descript or Suno or whatever those tools are that you want to start bringing back to your organization. I will say that I got a hot tip that one of the most attended async learning sessions that you can do with N10 is the communications with AI. And so you can imagine, as we are communicating and we are the social sector and we are developing relationship to drive impact, how important and critical it is. I love Ben's image of stretching it across the organization, right? This can't just be a communications initiative and we talk about, how we push content to LinkedIn. That content that's going to LinkedIn is coming from your fundraising database, right? Or from the donor personas that you've developed, right? So that's what it means to bring it all together, is you might have one slice of expertise. We need to stretch this across your entire mission. And so going from something like the N10 communications in the age of AI, async 60-minute course, to coming to this 12-week expansion of understanding, what now is the question we aspire to answer, right? You know that there's something, that there are secret cyborgs that are also using AI at your organization. We want to help you bring it all together. And that's where you have the opportunity to go into this capstone project to develop a really beautiful case for your enterprise, to dig into policy, to start developing your own pitch proposal for your organization. There's so many directions that you as an individual can take to now empower your entire organization. And now, guess what? You also have colleagues and collaborators that you can turn to when you're not getting the traction you need at your organization. And so, Brad, I think that speaks to what are the takeaways? What are the ongoing pieces that we get to bring with us as the capstone and the presentations of our capstones start to wrap?
And that's the cohort experience. We're super excited to bring this together to folks. It will be interactive. It'll be collaborative. You'll have live instructions from a wide range of folks who are strategists already working in AI for organizations as consultants. You'll hear from people who work for ethical AI companies, which I think is super important. It's one of those things. There's some tools that we use that, we still have some questions about some of those organizations, and those folks won't be presenting. There'll be some small work group workshops and discussions. Those will be in office hours and other places where it makes sense to have them. And you're going to be learning from each other. We're going to be bringing folks together who are experimenting, learning wherever they are in their path, right? We are going to learn together. And you're going to get practice with some AI tools. There'll also be free access to several of the progressive AI tools during the cohort. And then you'll get some personalized feedback from peers and the instructors. Really big roster of about 15 instructors and advisors collaborating with us on all of this. And folks want to share anything else? No.
I think we're just really excited to take folks from the AI 101 level to the actual, now we can do something at the organizational level to really change the way we as a sector drive social impact. And again, we are the 5 of us learning from each other, driving best practice, figuring out how do we integrate this into our day-to-day and support our clients with their any kind of technical, cultural values issues that somehow relate to AI, right? We're helping navigate those spaces, and it takes a village. And so I'm really grateful to have these incredible collaborators and partners on my journey. And it's so special to be able to offer that to all of you.
Yeah, so we look forward to joining. Check out the information.
I can't say it any better than that.
What's that?
I couldn't say it any better than that.
No, she perfectly nailed the wrap up there. Of course, reach out if you have questions. You can connect any of us on any of